YouTube, what's going on YouTube? I'm back with an interesting podcast. Is cheating enough to end your marriage? I actually got this topic from a clubhouse room where everyone sort of voiced in their opinion, and I just sat in and listened, and there was a lot of interesting points. One thing I will say is, for the single brothers out there or the single sisters, it's easy to have an opinion on something that you're not in. So if you're single or you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, it's very easy to voice your opinion on marriage if you're not actually married. I'm not saying I'm married, I'm not married, but I'm able to see everyone's point and just understand everyone's point. A woman explained her story and she said she met this guy, and prior to having kids with him, prior to the marriage, he did cheat, but he promised her he was going to stop. And as she's had a kid now, the cheating never stopped and the cheating carried on. And from the whole discussion in the room, you had some women say, cheating is wrong. If I'm not enough for you, then I'm gonna leave. Then if I'm not enough, what more do you want from me? I'm just gonna leave and find someone else. Alright. This came from a single woman. And we had some women say, if that cheating doesn't cost me a thing, if that man comes home and still loves me every day, then as long as I don't find out, I'm gonna stay in that marriage. That was another opinion from another woman, which is quite interesting. And vice versa, we had the guy say, yes, cheating is wrong. We can all admit cheating is wrong, but be respectful to your partner. If you're gonna do it, just don't get caught. That's one thing another brother said. And then we had a debate on women cheating and men cheating. Is it different? But that's a whole separate argument. But a woman pointed out something very interesting. She said, for a woman to cheat, it's either she's not satisfied in the bedroom, which is the physical aspect I've spoken about in the past, or the love isn't there. And in other words, what she means is that emotional connection. And you've heard me talk about the emotional connection, and I'm actually a fan of that. Right? So it's a very interesting topic. So for the woman who said, in a marriage, I've got kids, and if my man cheats on me, I'm gonna leave. What more do you want from me? I've given you all. But we have to be realistic here. We have to look at everything as a whole. Yes, okay, you said he's cheated and you're gonna leave. But with a lot of women saying they want men who are providers, men who can go out to work, and men are men of action, right? That's what a man is supposed to do. So if your man is going out, making the money, paying the bills, right, and he's providing for you, 9 times out of 10, you're living in his house. So for you to say, if he's cheated, I'm gonna leave, you have to understand, leave and go where? Right? Leave and pay what bills? Right? Leave. Let's hope you've worked some and saved some money, but realistically, we're talking from a realistic standpoint here. Paying bills is not easy, it's a lot of money to pay rent in the house, put food on the table. It is a lot of money. And let's say you do decide to leave, where's the kids gonna stay? If it's his house and you've decided you're gonna leave, you're leaving his property. Like, where are the kids gonna stay? Are they gonna stay with him, or are you gonna leave by yourself? That's something you have to consider. Another thing you have to consider, let's say you've even saved enough money and you have enough and you can move out. Finding a property is not easy. It's hard to find property because you're bidding with people who also want the property. So the competition for even getting a property is high. And what you're going to do in the meantime of looking for a property, you're gonna stay in the house with the man even though you're unhappy, or what are you gonna do? So you have to consider that. Another factor of a property, looking for property, is they want to know if you're financially stable. Do you have enough income? Can you afford this property? That's another aspect that they're looking at. What's your job like? How much do you earn? Are you able to afford, even getting a mortgage? Can you pay back this mortgage repayment? All these aspects are very important, and you have to consider that. It's easy to say, and this is why I'm saying she was a single woman. And another brother, a married brother, pointed out that it's easy to say all of that because you're single, right? Being married comes with a lot of responsibility. Being married means there's so much going on, and it changes you as a person when you're married. He asked her, have you thought about that? Right. These are very, very, very deep things. And the sister who said, if it doesn't cost me a thing, which I've heard this from a lot of women. If that cheating doesn't cost me a thing and it's my husband, you know what? I've even heard my mother say this. You think I'm going to leave my husband, let one of these girls take my husband because he's cheating? You think I'm going to pack out and leave? She said, you must be crazy. I've built this marriage. There's no way I'm leaving. I'm not giving my husband to someone else. If he's going to do whatever he wants to do outside, let him go do it, as long as he comes home back to me. And I've heard this from plenty of women. So circumstances are different. If you're single, it's easy to say, yeah, I'm going to leave. You've never been married before. So you have to take that into consideration. And even looking at our history, polygamy has always been a thing. If you look back at our history, during slavery, prior to slavery, and even right now, men have been known to sleep with multiple women. Some men have even been known to have multiple baby mums. So nowhere in our history has monogamy really been a thing, right? We've had men who are married and are sleeping with other women on the side. And there's some men who have 3-4 baby mums. These are all factors that we have to consider. Right? There's a lot going on here. It's easy to make a decision and say, I'm going to leave. But when there's marriage involved, when there's kids involved, it's harder. Marriage changes I'm not going to talk here. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm married. I'm not. Let's put it this way. I'm still in my early 20s. So there are a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration. You have many women who say, well, if a man is able to cheat, why should I not be allowed to cheat? It's a fair point to argue, but let's be realistic, right? Many men have said, they're able to go out there, sleep with another woman and feel no way about it and still come home to their wives. Right, so we've already established, some women can do this. They have that maintenance guy on the side who comes and services the engine once in a while, especially if they're married and they don't want to leave that man. That guy is a good guy, he does everything right. He's paying the bills. She's well taken care of. She has that maintenance guy on the side who services her engine. So you have many brothers who say if a woman cheats, that's it, they're done, they're gonna leave. And many men actually do this, right? But why a woman cheating, especially if you have children, you're saying, why can't I go out and remarry? Why can't I go out and be with another man? If my man is able to do that, why can't I do that? It's harder for a woman to do that. And here's why. Just hear me out on this, right? When a woman, it's hard for a woman to live that double life. You know, many men live a double life, but it's harder to live because what are you gonna do? You're gonna be at home and cook a meal for your kids and then run over to the other man's house and be there to cook a meal for them. You know, it's tough. Many men can go away on business trips for 2 weeks, come back to their family. Or could you leave your kids for 2 weeks and not turn back and see how they're doing? See what I mean? It's harder to live that double life. And I'm not going to sit here and say I condone cheating. You know, cheating is good. You know, cheating is wrong. But one thing I'm going to say is, one thing I've analyzed from humans is there's two types of humans out there. There are humans who love from a loving place, and there are humans who love from a place of understanding. Many women, many men, when you cheat on them, they can't believe it. Oh, you said you love me. It's only one man, one woman. If you really love me, you shouldn't have eyes for another woman. And then there's many women who see a man who cheats and just understand. All right, I'm looking at this from an understanding point of view. I understand that men cheat. I understand that women cheat. No, I love from a place of understanding. If a woman cheats on me, no way, I'm out. That's me realistically, but I am understanding. I will understand that you've cheated, or a woman will understand that the man's cheated. You can understand and still move on, right? But there's some people who love from a genuinely loving place and they're so hurt that you've cheated on them. They can't believe it, because you also have to look back at culture. You know, many people's culture are different. If you're religious, if a woman is religious and been religious all her life, it's one man, one woman, and that's what she sees. She sees nothing else. So cheating on a woman like that, she might be done, because like she said, what more is there out there? It's one man, one woman, and that's how they've seen it all their lives. And from a point of view where I'm from, I've seen many women cheat on their men. I've seen many men cheat on women. So I understand people do what they have to do. And overall, you know, the bottom line is, who's really affected when all of this is going on? And the truth is, it's the kids. You know, when you're in a marriage, it's easy to say you're going to leave, but you have other mouths you have to feed. You know, you have kids to look after. You have kids growing up without their father. And all these factors shape and really opens the eyes of a child. You know, that factor can change how a child is going to see life for the rest of his life or the rest of her life. So before making any hasty decision, before saying, well, I'm going to leave, in a marriage, there's so many things you need to consider. From finance to stability to, let's say you even move on and you find another man. Is it the right man to be around your kids? Or is it the right woman to be around your kids? There's plenty men who, especially when they don't have that connection with that child, mistreat those children because it's not their kids. Many factors to think about. You know, you're bringing this man around your kids, but what's his history like? What's his past like? Is there anything you need to keep and look out for? You know, on a deeper level, on a scarier level, we're talking, you know, like some men are predators out there. You know, leave that man around your kids and who knows what could happen. You know, there's many women who mistreat kids that are not their own because that connection. Yes, we say women love from an emotional place. It's easy for them to love another man's kid, but this is not true for many women. Many women come in, especially if they have their own kids. Here's another example. If she has her own kids and that kid comes in that family, she's going to favorite her child above your child. their child comes first before your child. So is there a situation where your kids are being mistreated when you're not around? These are factors you have to consider. It's very easy to say, well, I'm going to leave, but it's deeper than that. And it's just something for you to think about. I might put this on my deep thought channel, give you guys something to really think about. We had another sister who actually said, I'm the prize. Women are the prize. So a man is going to chase me and then I'm going to decide. It's easy to say that again, coming from being a single woman or just having a boyfriend. A married brother actually pointed out that, you're actually the prize whilst you're young. But as you get older and you have kids, there are plenty of men who will refuse to look after another man's child. They will refuse. Even if we look out in nature, look out in the wild with lions. If a lion comes in and meets a lioness and she's already had a child, that lion is known to kill that cub and then reproduce that lioness and have his own kids. And you have to realize, you can't force a man to look after another man's child. Right? That's not his legacy and that's not his responsibility. And this woman argued that, well, are you with me for my kids or are you with me? If you love me, you're going to love my kids. Right? If you genuinely love me, you have to love my kids back. And that's too entitled to ask for my man. And she pointed out that, well, the men I go for, unfortunately, many of them have kids. The men I'm interested in, and because if I love you, I'm gonna love your kids as well because I am in love with you. Which is a fair point to make, but you have to realize a man's nature and a woman's nature is different. Men and women are equal, but yet we are separate in many different ways. Right? It's a fair point you made that, but a woman's nature is to care. A woman's nature is to be emotional. A woman needs to be emotional in order to connect with her kids. And another key point is a woman has to be emotional in a state where she has 2 kids. She has to be able to love those 2 kids equally. Even if one decides that, he's going to pursue the same sex, he's going to be gay, right? Because of a woman's emotional nature, she has to be able to love those kids equally, no matter who they decide to have sex with. But if you look at many black culture, you have plenty of men who, when a child says they're gay, they're ready to step back. They don't want nothing to do with that kid, and they don't want any association with that kid. We've seen it. I'm here to give you the realistics. We see that on many occasions in our culture. That's another thing we have to think about. So, as fair as an argument that, well, if I love you, I'm going to love your kids, it's easy to say that because you're saying that from an emotional place, from a caring place. Women are able to love kids no matter what, but I've seen many men step back from their kid if their kid says he's gay or he wants to pursue the same sex. So I'm just throwing many angles at this for you. I understand people make decisions. Everyone has to make a choice, and that's what I'm going to wrap up with this video with. We all have to make a choice and we all have to make a decision, right? Are you going to be loyal? Or are you going to cheat? And if you cheat, are you going to be discreet? Or are you going to be disrespectful about it? Everybody has to make a choice. Everybody has to make a decision. And I'm running too much on time, so I don't want to make this topic any longer than it needs to be. Like, comment, subscribe, hit me up in the DM. I'm out.